my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. A big question fans have had since The Mandalorian Season 2 is when will Sabine Wren come into live action and feature in the Mandalorian story? Well, we recently learned that Natasha Liu Bordizzo has been cast to play Sabine in the Ahsoka series. Both Ahsoka and Sabine will begin their search for Thrawn and their friend Ezra Bridger following the events of the Rebels finale. But a question is, are we going to see Sabine Wren in The Mandalorian as well? Well, today I'm going to explain why I think Sabine is a necessary part of the story that's going to unfold in The Mandalorian Season 3 based on the events of the Book of Boba Fett and the recent leaks we've had for Mando's upcoming third season. First of all, let's do a quick recap of what we know. In Star Wars Rebels Season 3, the Darksaber had been missing for some time when Sabine and Ezra found it on Dathomir. Kanan Jarrus and Favreau recognized the weapon and believed that Sabine had been destined to find it and to lead Mandalore. After all, she is a Mandalorian that's deeply connected to the original culture. Even if other clans saw her as unconventional, she always respected and stayed true to Mandalorian values, or at least those that were important. Sabine overcame her initial reluctance to wield the Darksaber and trained under Kanan. But above all, Sabine had to find emotional balance and stop fighting herself and the blade before she could wield it properly. Thankfully though, with Kanan's teachings, she eventually mastered the weapon and subsequently defeated Gar Saxon, the Empire's puppet leader on Mandalore, and won her rightful ownership of the legendary Mandalorian weapon. However, as we see in Heroes of Mandalore, Sabine believed that Bo-Katan was a much better fit to rule and lead Mandalore, and so entrusted the Darksaber to her. Now, needless to say, Bo-Katan's time with the Darksaber only led to hardship and tragedy for Mandalore. As we saw in the Book of Boba Fett, the Armourer puts all the blame on Bo for the Night of 1,000 Tears and the Great Purge of the planet, and the Book of Boba showed us flashbacks to that night. Sometime between Rebels and The Mandalorian Season 1, Moff Gideon won the Darksaber from Bo, although we never actually see when or how he did this. And then in Season 2, Din Djarin won it rightfully in combat, and is still the wielder of the saber, although he is a reluctant wielder and certainly has no intention of taking responsibility of rulership of Mandalore. But I think that's going to change in Season 3, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. When he tried handing Bo-Katan the Darksaber, she refused, and even though she desperately wants to wield it again, this time she wants to win it outright, the Mandalorian way. We did not see Bo in the Book of Boba Fett, but we do see Paz Vizsla challenging Din for the weapon. Din is victorious, but is expelled from the tribe of the Children of the Watch for showing his face. The only way to atone, according to the Armourer, is to go to the living waters under the Mines of Mandalore. And this brings us on to Season 3. We've had leaks from Making Star Wars and Bespin Bulletin that we are going to see these living waters. As we know, this is the only feasible way for Din to atone for his sins, and the leaks state that the Armourer, Paz Vizsla, the Night Owls, and other clans are going to be present for the atonement ceremony. But could Din stepping up to the challenge also mean a change in mindset for him? As the wielder of the Darksaber, he has rightful passage to rule Mandalore, but the question is, will he want to after having been reluctant in the past? Now, you would think that the logical step forward from a storytelling perspective is for Mando to unite the remaining clans of Mandalore and to be their ruler. He has had a lot of character development across both seasons of Mando and the Book of Boba Fett, and him stepping up to rule Mandalore could be the next stage of his progression. But the problem is, you can't just ignore the other Mandalorians. They might give Din their blessing, but they need to address them in some way. Considering Dave Filoni has been including plenty of elements of Star Wars Rebels, we can't forget a character like Sabine. If all the remaining Mandalorian clans will appear in Season 3, we must wonder if she's going to be there too. But this brings about the question of her priorities and her duties. Right now she is searching for, or about to begin searching for, Thrawn and Ezra, but it's not known if Ahsoka and Sabine have even begun their search yet. Dave Filoni even hinted that the end scene of Rebels might take place after the events of The Mandalorian. And considering Ahsoka was hanging around with Luke and Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett, I doubt the two have even set off yet. This scene in Rebels might take place after The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, but if it is the case that The Mandalorian Season 2, Book of Boba Fett, and even Season 3 take place before the Rebels finale, then just before departing from Lothal, Sabine may have been contacted by Bo-Katan and made a stop on Mandalore for the atonement, and then we must question the role she could play in Season 3. story. As I said, Sabine is a Mandalorian with a profound love and connection to her culture, and she spent years living with the Jedi and received personal training from them on wielding the Darksaber. Having had a lot of time to grow and mature, she might be the perfect person to take up the weapon and restore Mandalore, and perhaps Bo-Katan will help Sabine believe in herself the same way Sabine once helped her. But here's the thing, given her priority to want to bring Ezra home, Sabine might decide that Din Djarin and Bo-Katan are better suited for Mandalore-related duties in her absence. And so Din might keep the saber and rise up to the challenge, and Bo-Katan will probably respect Sabine's blessing and support Din Djarin. However, having said that, Making Star Wars did say that they've heard that Bo-Katan is the one who's going to end up ruling Mandalore, and if this is the case, then I'm inclined to believe that part of that could have been Sabine's influence. In either case, in the strictest sense of the word, I believe Sabine is the rightful ruler of Mandalore, even if she does not end up ruling. Now, one of the fascinating parts of all of this is Bo-Katan. Katie Sackhoff did an excellent job at portraying her in live action, as well as voicing her in the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. Having said that, in Season 2, Bo-Katan was somewhat dislikable. Bo-Katan's dark past and leadership failures damaged her confidence as a leader. Sabine was a catalyst in building up Bo-Katan's confidence when she recognized Bo's capability as a leader and convinced her to take the Darksaber. And despite having lost to Gideon, she is still persisting to try and regain the weapon so she can lead Mandalore in a direction that honors her late sister, Duchess Satine. And I truly think if Bo-Katan gets another chance, she will have learned from her mistakes. Her wealth of experience has certainly prepared her to rule Mandalore well, even if some of her decisions have been questionable at best. I'm very intrigued to see where this story will lead, and I know a lot of fans have their own opinion on who is the rightful ruler of Mandalore. But I hope you watched until this point to see my full perspective on it. I do think Sabine is the rightful ruler and is the most apt in terms of leadership, even if she herself is not going to rule Mandalore in the end. We have to bear in mind this is still Din Djarin's story, and even if other Mandalorians are going to play into it, they're probably going to have minor roles in comparison. But let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. Share all of your theories, I can't wait to read them. If you enjoyed this video, my dear friends, please be sure to leave me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and a huge welcome if you are. And if you missed yesterday's video, then go and check it out. We talk about Vader in the Kenobi series, the new book Shadow of the Sith, and so much more. But until the next one, guys, may the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg, have a good one.